seated. Will Regina Williams please come forward? Ms. Williams will lead us in singing the national anthem, after which we ask that you please remain standing for the invocation.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Regina, that was beautiful. The invocation will be offered by Father Patrick J. Keating. Father Keating serves as the Deputy Chief Executive Officer for Catholic Charities, Brooklyn and Queens, and Chief Executive Officer of Catholic Migration Services. We are also very proud to say he is a member of the class of 2017 and graduates today. Father Keating?
We gather on this momentous day to celebrate the completion of law school. I am honored to stand with you, my fellow graduates of Brooklyn Law School, for I have had the privilege to call many of you classmates and friends these past 4 years. And so let us pray to Almighty God that we, the class of 2017, as we prepare to graduate, we might give thanks for the dedicated faculty of this fine institution, a faculty that has inspired, challenged, and guided us, a truly passionate faculty that continuously strives to share and pass on the essence of the law. We give thanks to Dean Allard, the administration, the benefactors, and the Board of Trustees who have been entrusted with the leadership of this honorable institution. We give thanks for the dedicated staff and the many mentors who have helped and assisted we, the graduates, these past few years. We are eternally grateful to the family and friends who have supported the graduates as we have pursued the noble cause of studying the law. May the class of 2017 always be guided by a desire for justice and equality. May the women and men of this class bring honor to this proud institution by applying the knowledge that we have learned for the betterment of every single person, no matter who they are or where they are from. May we who seek to be part of the legal profession always be dedicated to the common good of all humanity. May the wisdom that we have gained be a tool for the cause of justice. May we always see the law as an instrument of fairness and not division. May we always be individuals of integrity. And we pray that the class of 2017 be granted the gift of wisdom to pass the bar. Finally, we ask your blessing on all who are gathered here. We give thanks forever and ever. Amen.
Thank you, Father Keating. Please be seated. Welcome to the members of the class of 2017 and to the alumni parents, alumni spouses, and other alumni relatives of the graduating students seated on this stage. Today we extend warm welcome to the family and friends of our graduates and thank them for all the support and encouragement that helped make it possible for the graduates to reach this day. I ask our graduates to give their family and friends one hell of a warm round of applause. This year, we are bringing back the tradition of recognizing graduates who are celebrating their 50th reunion year. Today, we welcome members of the class of 1967, including my fellow trustee, Fred Cohen, who are on the stage. I ask that they please stand so that you may give them a round of applause. We have another special guest on stage today, Samuel Sporn, a member of the class of 1953. Mr. Sporn is a generous supporter of the law school whose philanthropy has touched the lives of many students, including some graduating today. In addition, he taught generations of students as an adjunct professor for more than 30 years. And he himself was valedictorian of his graduating class and editor-in-chief of the Brooklyn Law Review. We also welcome his family members who join us today. Mr. Sporn? I am pleased to begin the program by calling on Jamie Kurtz, valedictorian, to deliver the valedictory address. Jamie?
I'd like to start today by telling you a story about a friend of mine. He came to the United States 2 years ago as an immigrant. He came here with one goal in mind: to succeed. To me, success is a long-term goal, and in this, I see a parallel between his journey and our own. I'm looking at you, class of 2017. Sure, we have each seen success along the way, from getting into Brooklyn Law School to surviving 1L year without going crazy, to making it here today, which is no doubt an unbelievable accomplishment we should all be proud of. No, success isn't simply graduating from law school. Nobody does this just for fun, right? Success is where we see ourselves 5, 10, 20 years from now, what we strive to be, and what gave us the drive to persevere through these challenging, albeit enlightening, few years of law school. And it looks different for each and every one of us. But for my friend, success is still a long way away. Similar to all of us completing law school, he came here and achieved some initial success. He got a job with his dream organization and couldn't wait for what he thought would be a smooth road ahead. But that road was bumpy. And I imagine we too will encounter bumps along the road of life. Thankfully, though, my friend learned to attack those obstacles head on with grace, wit, and determination. He's inspired me, and I hope he can inspire you too. My friend's name is Kristaps Porzingis. He was born in Latvia, and at age 19, at 7'3", he was drafted by the New York Knicks. He is a rising star in the NBA and the sole beacon of hope for the otherwise completely out of sorts Knicks organization. Now, the road ahead for Kristaps has looked dire, and continues to for the foreseeable future. But he's never given up, and he won't, until he feels he's found his success, however he defines it, and however many, decades it may take as a member of the Knicks. But I plan to do the same, and I encourage you all to as well. All kidding aside, I believe there's a bit of Kristaps inside all of us. We may not have 8-foot wingspans, but we do have grace, we have wit, and we have determination. I've seen and admired these traits while working alongside each of you these past 3 years. There were those of you that sprang into action after the Muslim ban was enacted and gathered more than 100 deep to stand for what you and so many of us believe in, because Brooklyn stands together. And then there are those of you, myself included, whose determination shined brightest in the wee hours of the winter and spring to ensure nothing stood between you and the comfy chairs in the third floor of the library. My experience at Brooklyn Law School has brought out the best in me. Like my friend Kristaps, the more talent there is around me, the harder I push myself. Even though I have the opportunity to speak to you today, there is no doubt in my mind that without your insightful questions in class or your thoughtful discussions and debates, what I was able to learn here was undoubtedly influenced by each one of you. So I'd like to thank you for that and take this time to congratulate you, class of 2017, on today's amazing accomplishment, of which I know Kristaps would be so proud. Now, to our professors, I do retain the right to amend this until after passing the bar, but in the absence of those results, I will assume you have aptly prepared us for what lies ahead. Your unique perspective and thirst for knowledge were inspiring. We are forever indebted to you for your commitment to our education, but I would like to specifically thank those of you who did not cold call in class, because let's be honest, nobody likes that. Nobody, Professor Taylor. Now, from a young age, my parents impressed on me the values that you work hard for what you want in life, that your word is your bond, and you treat people with respect. You keep your promises. They taught me to show these values and morals in my daily life. Oh, sorry. That was a quote many attribute to Michelle Obama, as told by Melania Trump, but it pretty much holds true for me as well, so I figured what's one more speech, right? Anyway. Not only did I grow up a few steps away from Brooklyn Law School's campus, but I am actually the son of 2 Brooklyn Law alumni who are on stage behind me today. Mom, Dad, thank you for always having my back, quite literally today. I also want to thank my grandpa and Laurel, as well as my sister Sarah and her soon-to-be husband Josh, who are getting married, you guessed it, in Brooklyn later this year. I'm sure I speak for my fellow graduates when I say to all of the families out there, thank you. Thank you for believing in us, not only these past few years, but for an entire lifetime before that. I can only hope that one day we will be able to repay you, and I really hope that comes in the form of bailing drunk Uncle Bob, we all have one, out of jail after he streaks at a New York Jets game. You go, Uncle Bob. I would also be remiss not to mention that it is my mother's birthday today, so happy 35th birthday, Mom. I didn't get you a gift, but wasn't the joy of being able to tell Rabbi Potasnik that your son was #1 in his class joy enough for a lifetime? And shouts out to Allie, the love of my life, who forbade me from using the phrase "shouts out" when she was writing the speech, but therefore forced me to use it here. So let's wrap this thing up. I'm sure we've all annoyingly heard people say, "Oh, exactly what the world needs, more lawyers." And while I've spent a majority of my time making light of this unforgettable experience and occasion, it does feel that we are living in a world where more lawyers is for once exactly what we need. Let's show everyone what Brooklyn can do, and I implore you to be the Kristaps you want to see in the world. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Jamie. Now I ask Marissa Potts, who was elected by our students to speak on their behalf, to come forward and address the class.
Happy graduation day, everybody. I am honored and humbled to stand before you today as the student speaker for our class. I'd like to thank my family, my friends, and of course, every member of the class of 2017 for this wonderful opportunity. Okay, yay. Today we are here to celebrate history. The Constitution and the Bill of Rights were the start of our nation's history. The practice of law has shaped that history. Our school has been a part of that history, and now, so are we. In the fall of 2014, at our class's convocation ceremony, a former Brooklyn Law student told us that law school would be long days but short years. As we passed those long days studying, learning from classes, professors, and each other, we became immersed in the history that took place around us. I will now reflect on some of the historical moments that have shaped our law school career. 1L year was a challenge, a consistent, ever-adapting learning curve. We navigated new relationships, lectures, outlining, and the terror of being called on by our lovely professors. During that time, however, our nation faced its own challenges. The Black Lives Matter movement gained momentum to seek reform and support in response to shootings involving law enforcement and young black males. In November 2014, Sony Pictures was hacked, leading to questions about cybersecurity, trade secrets, and eventually, among other things, the passing of the Defend Trade Secrets Act in 2016. Months later, 1L year ended, and we began to apply our newfound knowledge of the law to legal positions during the summer. We found work for judges, at firms, nonprofits, and a litany of other educational placements, experiencing the legal world from a new perspective. That same summer, the Supreme Court decided Obergefell versus Hodges, holding that this nation's fundamental right to marriage is also guaranteed to same-sex couples. As second-year students, we worked to death. We faced new challenges and experiences and opportunities such as moot court, journals, clinics, externships, and a long list of other opportunities that involved really, really hard work. As the hours, days, and weeks flew by during practices, paper writing, and classes, we experienced several other key historical moments. In February 2016, we lost Justice Scalia. Just a few months later, Britain's citizens voted to withdraw from the United Kingdom. And of course, looming in the news, on Twitter, and basically everywhere else, was the 2016 presidential election, perhaps one of the most divisive in recent history. Shortly after President Trump's inauguration, we watched as second semester 3Ls, while attorneys gathered together in airports and researched on Lexis and Westlaw for ways to combat the president's controversial travel ban. Regardless of a political affiliation, we waited eagerly for the moment that we could jump in, as they did, to help others in need, the day that we could apply our education and skills to truly make a difference. And now, that moment is upon us. We will soon emerge as lawyers into a tumultuous political, social, and national climate. We have before us a nation divided, people of all classes, races, age, and gender who worry for the future, who feel underrepresented or unheard. As a result, we have a responsibility, a duty and privilege as attorneys to contribute to the movements that inspire us, to teach others, to listen effectively to those who feel overlooked, and to advocate for positive change in our nation. Now that we are graduating and taking next steps toward admission to the bar, we will soon have the capacity to make a real difference. We will be able to help, and we will take advantage of those opportunities, because that's what Brooklyn students do. In the future, there will come a time when a graduating law school class gathers in celebration to reflect on the events that inspired them when they were students. They will remember reading cases that we will work on, watching newscasters discuss mergers and acquisitions that we will close, and volunteering at organizations that we will found. There will soon come a time where they take a moment, as we do today, to reflect on the history that took place around them, and we will be that history. But today is our moment. Today we celebrate the passing of those 3 short years filled with long days of studying. Today we celebrate the millions of pages that we turned, our mid-study library stretches, our hearts racing upon hearing the words, "You may now turn over your exam and begin." Worst words ever. Today we celebrate the networks that we have built and the friendships we have made, friendships that will last far beyond our law school struggles and successes. Today we celebrate our class, a class filled with hardworking students in the JD, LLM, and AJD programs. Soon, all of us will be lawyers, confident, capable, determined to serve our clients, our country, or even the world. At Brooklyn Law, we've learned history, we've lived history, and today we leave it to make history. Thank you all, and congratulations to the class of 2017.
Thank you, Marissa. It's now my great personal pleasure to introduce the distinguished journalist, Errol Lewis. Errol is a graduate of the class of 2005 and attended the law school in its evening program. He has certainly made us proud that we admitted him to Brooklyn Law School. Mr. Lewis is the political anchor of New York One News, where he hosts The Road to City Hall, a nightly program about New York City politics on which he interviews top political and cultural leaders. He also is a longtime CNN contributor, providing on-air commentary on key events from the presidential primaries to election night. He writes frequently for CNN.com. Mr. Lewis has moderated more than 24 debates, including those for New York City Mayor, New York State Governor, and the United States Senate. In 2016, he was a questioner in the final Democratic presidential debate between Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders. He also writes a weekly column for the New York Daily News on a range of political and social affairs. He previously served on the paper's editorial board from 2004 to 2010. Up-and-coming journalists get the benefit from his insight and are lucky enough to be his students, and he serves as Director of Urban Reporting at the CUNY Graduate School of Journalism, teaching political and investigative reporting. Mr. Lewis has been recognized with numerous accolades for his work. He was twice named one of the top talk show hosts in America by Talkers Magazine, the Bible of the news talk radio industry. He was recently named to the list of the 100 most powerful people in New York City politics. In 2010, he was named the city's best columnist and radio show host by the Village Voice. In addition to his JD from Brooklyn Law School, he received his undergraduate degree in government from Harvard College and his master's in political science from Yale University. Brooklyn Law School is honored to welcome back Errol Lewis today and award him its highest degree. Will Mr. Lewis and Dean Allard please join me at the podium? Errol Lewis, by virtue of the authority vested in me by the Board of Trustees of Brooklyn Law School, I admit you to the degree of Juris Doctor honoris causa and cause the appropriate hood to be placed on your shoulders, and in token thereof, I present you with this diploma. By the way, as you notice, he's also tall in stature. We will now hear from Errol Lewis, class of 2005.
Wow. Thank you very much. And what a great morning this is. I thank you for this honorary degree, and I'm honored to have been asked to address you on this special morning. I want to thank Dean Allard and his wife Marla, as well as Stu Subotnick and the rest of the Board of Trustees, and of course all of the faculty members and staff who have been very helpful and generous with their time. But first and foremost, let me congratulate each and every graduate getting a degree today. Congratulations, class of 2017. You are joining a long and ancient line of men and women of great learning. And to arrive at this morning and one of the most significant milestones of your lifetimes, I know each of you had to overcome any number of challenges: academic, emotional, financial, personal health challenges. I don't know exactly what you went through, and most people will never know, but I do remember well some of the hurdles that members of my class had to overcome. And congratulations on getting through it, and for hanging in there, even when you thought the challenges might get the best of you. Special congratulations to those of you who went through the night division the way I did while working full-time, night warriors. And special congratulations to your parents and spouses and other family members who are here today. It really is true what they say. Nobody hates lawyers so much that they don't want their child to become one. And the truth is, of course, that none of us gets through law school alone. My model for trying to go full-time and also work full-time and also go to school is my dad. He's a graduate of Boys High School here in Brooklyn. He went to John Jay College while working full-time as a New York City police officer and raised 5 kids along the way. Like some of you, he was the first in our family to graduate from college. Took him over 10 years. He is my friend and my hero. He is here today. Please give a round of applause to my dad. Retired Inspector Edward J. Lewis. And by the way, he was my secret weapon during criminal procedure. Cops really know the penal law. Also here, my big sister, Lisa Burton, a graduate of Bryn Mawr. She spent a few decades supervising paralegals at Case Scholer. She's here. And of course, the love of my life, my wife, a formidable government affairs professional, if you ever need one, Juanita Scarlett, is here. I met Juanita while I was in law school, which was the best but not the only life-changing part of my Brooklyn Law School experience, and that's what I wanted to share with you for just a few minutes today. Some thoughts about how this place changes you and how you, in turn, will change the world. My first day of class fell in late August of 2001, and 9/11 happened barely 2 weeks into classes. Many of my classmates rushed over to the promenade and watched the World Trade Center burn. That electric burning smell hung in the air for weeks while we attended class. And it was a gut check moment for all of us, with more questions than answers. Were we safe from another attack? Was it safe to breathe the air in and around the streets near Ground Zero while fires were still burning and the air was thick with smoke? And when would the markets reopen? And when would the courts reopen? And was this even the right time to be focused on becoming a lawyer? The havoc of the attack, the following mobilization for war, created new priorities for everyone. In many ways, the immediate aftermath of 9/11, as I recall, made us all a little bit more sober and a little bit more public-minded. Some Brooklyn law students with military backgrounds were deployed. They went off to war. Others remain here, and they protested the war. And all of us confronted deep and urgent questions about privacy rights, the limits of government power, even as we dealt with the need for government power. In my own case, I immediately tried to put my legal learning, what little I had, to use at my day job, first at the New York Sun newspaper and then at the Daily News. I remember sitting in an overcrowded courtroom as the Second Circuit heard oral arguments in the case of Padilla versus Rumsfeld, in which an American citizen had been arrested at O'Hare Airport, labeled an enemy combatant, and detained by the U.S. military without ever being charged. It was one of several groundbreaking cases that eventually made it to the Supreme Court. And I vividly remember when my professor for statutory interpretation, Abby Gluck, took our class on a field trip to Washington, D.C. to meet with Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. We sat in on Supreme Court arguments that day. That was our experience over a decade ago. And as I've already heard from some of your classmates, you're facing different but equally important questions of national security, immigration law, digital privacy, civil rights, and more. And you're going to find that once you get this degree, and even more so after you're admitted to the bar, things are going to get pretty serious pretty quickly. And that brings me to my first piece of advice. I've got 6 pieces of advice for you. Wherever you are, and no matter what kind of practice you find yourself doing, be sure to teach others something about how the law works, about legal reasoning. You have an understanding of legal principles and legal reasoning that is all too rare. You need to use that knowledge to explain what is going on to your friends, family, neighbors, and coworkers. This week, for example, when the news broke that former FBI Director James Comey had kept contemporaneous notes of a private conversation he had with the President of the United States, I know what a lot of you thought immediately. That sounds like a recorded recollection. That's a hearsay exception. Rule 803. The bar's coming up, folks. But you have to also explain to your non-lawyer friends in plain English that when somebody creates a reliable written record, the courts consider it sound evidence. And even if you're doing tax law or mergers and acquisitions, whether you end up at the district attorney's office or at a boutique software firm or a nonprofit organization, try to keep up with developments outside of your immediate field. Call up your classmates if you have questions. Check in on Supreme Court rulings and be ready to explain the law to people who have questions about it. Not because it'll make you look smart, although it will, but because it helps underscore that the law is not a mystery. It's not a trap. It's not a source of confusion. It's a tool to help people. And whether you're at work or at a dinner party or at a family reunion, please remember you will be the face of the law to many people, and you should take that responsibility seriously. Do try to keep reading, I think preferably in a field outside of your day-to-day work. Socrates famously said that the only thing he knew for sure is how little he knew. You don't ever have to read another book in your life, at least not after the bar, but I suggest you go with Socrates. If you've got a 30-minute commute every day, That translates into a couple of hours every week that you can use to drill down on your law practice, but you could also read a few pages of philosophy or poetry, great literature, history, or science. It is good to keep balance. Find something that interests you. Stay aware and stay informed because you're going to be a leader. Another suggestion, if you haven't already, you should start saving and put away some money for a home and your kids in your retirement. You all know probably better than almost any other group of graduates how important it is to create and keep good money habits. As we all know, money can be like people. It goes where it's wanted. It avoids those who show no interest in it. My third suggestion, and this is really a request, give back to New York, especially Brooklyn. We're really counting on you to join the city's leadership in business, in the arts, in government, in your neighborhood. Every election year, and this happens to be one, I look at the cast of characters who are running for office, and I wonder why more don't consider it. I think many of you should. Understand that your brains and your talent are needed. Please share them. Take responsibility for your health. The body that you're living in is the only one you're going to get. Your health and fitness are not something to take for granted or burn through as if you have an endless supply. Get yourself a sport or a basic fitness routine, preferably something fun, and make sure you stay with it. You don't have to be perfect, but you need to be consistent. And then here's my fifth tip. Don't waste time with people who are not going to go where you want to go. I mean, the night division, the evening division, people know this, I think, better than most. You can do a whole heck of a lot with just a few hours at night. But you can also fritter away every weekend and half of your weeknights if you're with the wrong people. And so my hint would be, if you can't talk honestly and earnestly with somebody about where you're planning to go in your life and your career and why, you might want to limit the amount of time you spend with that person. Obviously, you don't have to cut them off, but your time is going to be valuable. You're going to find that when they tell you what your billable hours are worth. Be wise about how you use that time. And now here's my final recommendation, and this is the big one, which is to remember that you have clients beyond the ones who are paying you. Now, obviously, your paying clients are very important, but you also have what I would call invisible clients. Justice is your client. Fairness is your client. Honesty and integrity and service are your clients. These permanent clients deserve your best effort, and you're going to find that lawyers who don't serve them can end up paying a fearful price. The reality is that you will, from time to time, have to choose between the needs of these permanent, eternal clients, justice, fairness, honesty, integrity, service, and the immediate needs of your money clients. And I suggest you learn to make use of a very powerful word, and that word is no. There's a natural desire to try and tell every client yes, no matter what they're asking for, especially when there's money and prestige on the line. But some clients or potential business partners are going to bring you deals and requests that are morally and legally questionable. Sooner than you might think, as an attorney, you may face questions like when and whether detainees can be held indefinitely without charges, whether detectives can conduct broad surveillance based on national origin. Somebody might want to ask whether there's a way to create a ban on Muslim immigration that can pass legal muster. You might face a stinky real estate transaction where the buyer or the seller isn't fully mentally astute or has an unprincipled attorney or has an unfair lack of information. Here in Brooklyn, we saw a string of criminal convictions in which prosecutors skimped on basic rules of discovery, leading to false convictions. And when those kind of things happen, remember that your job is not just to say, here's how to do it. Here's how to make it seem legal. I understand that as lawyers, you have an aptitude for solving problems. You know how to argue both sides of most questions. And it can be tempting to show off. You can go through a flashy, even lucrative set of legal and mental gymnastics, like a gymnastics routine in the Olympics. But you don't want to show off for your clients. In morally questionable cases, the most successful lawyers I've known are the ones who simply say no. You are meant to find better paths than that. Whether you're a full-time lawyer or a non-practicing attorney, you have a chance to follow or create a career path with great depth of meaning. And that is your real job. You may have heard the story of the man traveling through a town who came across 3 stonemasons who were chipping granite out of large blocks. Back-breaking, dirty work. The first mason seemed unhappy and even angry about his work, stopping every few minutes to look at his watch. The traveler asked, "What are you doing?" The mason said, "I'm hammering this stupid rock like I do every day. I can't wait to go home at 5 o'clock. Next to him, the second stonecutter was hammering away at his rocks. He also looked unhappy, not angry, but sad. The traveler asked, "What are you doing?" The man said, "I'm molding blocks to fit with the other blocks and create a wall. I'd rather be doing something else, but I have a family to feed and I need the money." And the third stonemason was humming and singing and smiling as he cut his stones. And when the traveler asked what he was doing, he raised his eyes to the sky and said, "I'm building a cathedral." 3 men, 3 different attitudes, all doing the same job. But only one of them is having a successful career. Only one of them is having a successful life. Question for you this morning, which of them will you be? Are you looking for something to do, or do you want to build a cathedral? A few years ago, a good friend of mine, an outstanding attorney named Ken Thompson, shocked me by telling me he was going to walk away from a law firm that he'd built on his own. He was taking home at the time a 7-figure salary. He said he wanted to run for Brooklyn District Attorney. Ken ended up making history. He beat the incumbent DA in the 2013 Democratic primary, and it was the first time that had happened in New York in over 100 years. After his election, Ken set up a conviction review unit that exonerated more than 20 innocent people, many of whom had served decades in prison based on false or flawed convictions. In 2015 alone, nationwide, there were 12 people exonerated for homicides. Half of those exonerations came from Thompson's office right here in Brooklyn. And my friend Ken passed away much too soon. He died of cancer last year. But I think often about what he did, the dozens of lives that he made whole, and the injustices that he corrected. And one way to summarize his career is that he sacrificed his well-being by walking away from a multi-million-dollar law practice. But another way to see it is that for Ken Thompson, being true to his calling and faithful to the law was the greater value. Freeing innocent people, to him, was worth every penny of those millions. Justice and fairness, those permanent and eternal clients, had hired Ken Thompson. And they paid him something that was worth more than a fancy car or another vacation. So I will say to you, class of 2017, try to find those big clients, the permanent ones, the eternal ones. Serve them zealously and faithfully and skillfully. And I hope you'll always remember how this feels today. I hope all of your best dreams come true. I hope your burdens are light and your journey is joyous. Let today be one of many more times that your name is called in public in honor and appreciation. Best of luck.
Errol, thank you for a very meaningful speech, and we appreciate it. We appreciate you being here. Next, I'd like to ask Dean Nick Allard to come up, and he will address the graduating class.
You know, we say that students are a purpose. They're not an excuse for having a law school. And our 3 student speakers and our honorary award recipient demonstrate why that is not only the right thing but the smart thing to do, and why it's so moving to all of us who are engaged in legal education at our law school. Father Keating, I know what it took, given your other responsibilities, as is the case with so many of our 4-year students, to earn your JD in the midst of everything else. And I know that your remarks were particularly heartfelt. So thank you. Jamie, you may have a friend who's 7'3", but your stature is already enormous, and I'm sure will be growing in the years ahead. It'll give us great pleasure to follow your professional and personal growth as well. Marissa, I thought your survey of what was a remarkable, short, but unbearably long in some ways, period of time was amazing. If this legal thing doesn't work out, and I'm sure it will, I think you have a future as a history of professor or perhaps a commentator on contemporary scene. It was really quite remarkable. I did, however, think that the worst words to be heard, and you know how wordy I am, so you'll understand this is coming from the heart, are put down your exam booklets rather than... That was always the... But after all, there's some sense in that because it's not where you begin, it's how you end. And Errol Lewis is certainly emblematic of that principle. It's not what particularly his background was or where he came from, and he's emblematic of how this great law school has been an opportunity and gateway from people from all sorts of different backgrounds, all different people that strengthen each other. And we're enormously proud of not where he is already, how he's ending, but the many great chapters that will be written about him ahead and all the good that he'll be doing. So, trustees, our distinguished faculty of teachers and scholars, family, friends, parents, and distinguished guests, and especially the great class of 2017. Today is momentous, and not only for you. On this commencement day, you join the ranks of the women and men who throughout history have upheld and advanced the rule of law, and with intelligence and purpose propelled economic growth and opportunity, fought for justice and equality, and sought to extend the blessings of liberty for all. Not a bad day at the office. Now you can do well, but it's now up to you to do good as well. And when you fulfill the grand, soaring, public and private responsibilities of lawyers, you will surely be heroes. But remember, it's also heroic to give your best and to perform the quotidian hard work of a good lawyer and raising and supporting your family and being a helpful, caring friend and neighbor. I am, for example, thinking of my oldest child, Nate, who is one of those hardworking, long-commuting young lawyers in New York City. Many of you will be doing the same, I'm sure. And he's also a doting father of 4 children who are under 4 years old, if you can imagine. I could not be more proud of him, just as I know that your friends and your parents and your families are proud of you and will be proud of you. So this would be a good time to thank your family and friends who are here today and to give them another large round of applause and gratitude. What you 2017 graduates will do as lawyers is as important as it's ever been, perhaps more so. I don't have to tell you, I hardly have to tell you that we live in a tumultuous time. Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. spoke of the fierce urgency of now. We certainly are experiencing an urgent moment in our history, a very sobering time when our Constitution may be tested. Every day we witness threats from within, some self-inflicted, and threats from abroad. Threats from people who hate our way of life and seek to destroy it, from enemies overseas, threats at home to our own shared vision of this nation and even what it means to be an American. So how will you respond in the future? Regardless of your career path, armed with your legal education, you're going to be called upon to use the power of law to make a positive difference for your community, your nation, and our world. When you made the decision to attend law school, I know some of you were discouraged by others who cited the downturn in the job market, not to mention the bad rap that we lawyers sometimes get. But in just the few short years of your time in law school, the public regard for our necessary and honorable profession has risen, and lawyers are looked to as heroic figures in the epic struggle now underway for the heart and soul of our country and the world. In fact, lawyers are something of the breakout stars of 2017. It's a watershed moment for our profession, and you're in the vanguard of a new generation of lawyers who are well prepared to take on the challenges ahead. Seemingly overnight, legal experts, including many of our faculty, are prominent commentators on the front pages and op-ed sections of national newspapers, on network and cable television, and in social media, not to mention in the courts as they strive to explain, protect, and defend our constitutions. Millions of Americans are learning so much about our legal system that they may be eligible for an AAL degree, an almost a lawyer degree, and without paying any tuition, at least for those who are paying attention. So like the generation during the Watergate era who were inspired by Washington Post journalists Woodward and Bernstein to pursue careers in journalism, you're going to be leading the renaissance of the legal profession that is greatly in need of your idealism, your vigor, your masterful communication skills in the new world of law, and your high-tech savvy. Once again, at this historic moment, lawyers and journalists in tandem can save our nation as they have in the past. We're especially honored, as I said, to have Errol Lewis as our commencement speaker because he's a sterling example of a Brooklyn Law School graduate who has raised the bar for his profession here in New York City and across the country. He does the important work of holding elected officials' feet to the fire and to the highest standards of public service, truth, facts matter, and the principle of our democracy. Every day, journalists like Mr. Lewis are vigorously pursuing their constitutional function of holding government accountable. Lawyers, too, have been called on to play a central role. Judges, prosecutors, special prosecutors, special counsel, practitioners, scholars, and you, law students and now graduates, have raised the collective consciousness with the help of Broadway's Alexander Hamilton about the absolutely critical role lawyers and law have played in the founding of our nation, the stability of our system conferred by the adherence to the rule of law and legal process. And certainly, as I said, we are witnessing an awakening of appreciation for what lawyers do, not only to safeguard our business and personal threats, but to protect the rights of Americans and those who wish to come to our country to escape war and tyranny and build a better life. As you've heard, we saw this in action in January when an army of lawyers, including many of our students and faculty members, rushed to airports and courts and community centers to help those affected by the travel ban order, which subsequently was stopped by federal judges in our independent third branch of government. This was law in action for all to see. It was a reminder, it was an education, reminding us that we consent to be governed by law rather than by force, favor, or fortune. It was an opportunity for Americans to understand and appreciate the fundamental laws of our land and the role lawyers play to bring the fruition of the benefits of constitutional guarantees that are core of our democratic way of life to the people. When you take the oath of office as attorneys, which thanks to Father Keating's prayer is now a certainty, you will pledge to support the Constitution of the United States. It is very much like the oaths taken by the President, cabinet members, the FBI director, our representatives in Congress, and public officials across the country. There is a solemn vow in our tradition of pledging loyalty to the rule of law, not a boss. This is the very foundation of our nation, a government of laws, not men or women. As John Adams wrote, it is a government of laws, not men. It is our core tenet that no person is above the law. Now, Errol Lewis mentioned Socrates, so I'm going to see him and raise him one and refer to Archimedes. This is the time of year when we talk about ancient Greeks. You might recall what long ago Archimedes said, Give me a lever long enough and a fulcrum on a place to put it, and I shall move the world. The Constitution and our laws are your fulcrum. Your legally trained mind is your level as long as you can make it. You have the tools and the foundation upon which you can change the world, and now it's up to you to be the heroes who will move our world forward. Hold your applause. Shameful. Okay, that was a mercy applause. That's okay. It doesn't count. It doesn't count. I'm just trying to see if you're paying attention. That's all right. Well, it's been a privilege to get to know so many of you in your time here. I remember when you started, I was so moved seeing all of you looking exciting, eager, a little nervous. As you embarked on this great adventure, I remember in convocation in 2014, I was also thinking again of another one of my children, my son Tyler, who I told you was starting law school on that very same day. And Tyler will graduate on Saturday. I make these personal references because I just want to convey to you that I feel a very special connection with your class. And it's an emotional, in a good way, time for me personally. I know it is for you and your families. They've supported you every step of the way. Law school is not easy, you all know that. And none of us does it alone. I know many of you come to see the Brooklyn Law School community as an extension of your family. And in many ways, we are a family here with all the joys and sorrows, successes and disappointments, many ups and some downs. We cheer each other on. We push ourselves and others to achieve what we sometimes think are unreachable goals. Sometimes we rub each other the wrong way, and most often, we offer mutual support in good times and during challenging periods. I don't know about the drunk Uncle Bob part, but it's all pretty good. It has a feel of a family. So families are front and center at our commencement. We have a wonderful tradition of inviting our graduates, faculty, and staff to the ceremony to give diplomas to their family members. This tradition continues today. As you heard, soon you're going to see the remarkable 103-year-old Elena Teresa Sanfilippo, class of 1936. Sam Sporn, you're arm candy for her. I mean, really. She's going to be giving, Elena Teresa Sanfilippo is going to give her great-great-niece, Francesca Adamo, her diploma. That's great. I met Elena at the Italian-American Law Student Association dinner last year, which was a marvelous affair, worried to perfection by Joe and Big Mike, his capo de tutti capo. And that prompted me when I met her to try to fix her up with our beloved Professor Emeritus Joe Crea, who recently turned 102. But Elena said he's too old for me. I called Joe up, and when I told him that, he roared, laughing with gusto. He said, "She's just the woman for me." So maybe there is still hope for yet another Brooklyn Law School romance. We'll see. As an aside, with all these remarkable centenarians, I want you graduates to know that superlongevity seems to be something in the water at Brooklyn Law School. Recently, 108-year-old Irving Piken, class of 1930, was featured on ESPN as the oldest living Dodgers fan, and he is still waiting patiently for them to return to Brooklyn. And he'll probably be around by the time they do. Meanwhile, our valedictorian, as you heard, Jamie Kurtz, will receive his diploma from his parents, New York State Supreme Court Judge Donald Kurtz and Nina Kurtz, both class of '82. That's great. These are just a few examples of our graduates and the members of our faculty on stage to give diplomas to their faculty members. I know this is getting to seem a bit like Oscar night with all the shout-outs, but I'll tell you, we're going to try to get the names and the right winners, matched up correctly, unlike Oscar night. You know, Father Patrick Keating delivered the invocation this morning. He has really given his life to the spiritual life of the school. I mean, after all, as long as there's exams, there's going to be prayer in law school, right? And in addition, he's managed to work on his studies while working as the senior leader of Catholic Charities of Brooklyn and Queens. I don't believe that he knows that I hear from Bishop DiMarzio from time to time, who checks in and see how he's doing. He's very interested in his progress. And he does tell me, the bishop tells me, how hard late at night you're in the residence, in the kitchen, working under a kitchen light at your studies at the end of what I'm sure is an incredibly long day. I mention this because as a member of our great four-year program, Father Keating's emblematic of the hard work that each of you, who are so diverse and have so many other things going on in your life, put into earning your degree, though you are all different and you take many different paths to earn the same high-quality degree. So again, Father Keating is a perfect example of what each of you have accomplished and what it took to get your degree. So we're very, very proud of what you've done. You saw those robust, spry 50-year-old graduates who were on stage spring up: Paul Bergman, Fred Cohen, Stanley Hochberg, Stephen Lusthouse, and the Honorable Louis Rosenthal, as a former president of our Alumni Association. Give them all another big round of applause. So, you know, things come around, or as some of you may know, the barrel rolls. We're also thrilled, you've heard, as a special guest here to have Sam Sporn, class of 1953. You've heard a little bit about Sam? Yeah, that's great. Hold your applause for a moment. I want you to know that Sam is particularly generous, but he pays particular attention to supporting students who have an immigrant heritage or who themselves are immigrants. It's particularly important to Sam because he himself is a dreamer in every sense of the world. He was brought to this country as a young boy by his parents, and it wasn't until much later in his life that he even realized what an undocumented alien was. And so he has become and embodied the American dream, and in addition, he has done what he can to put back and put forward the success that he's had to help others. So Sam, thank you very, very much. I'm also recognizing our wonderful international LLM students. Your presence engages us and enhances our stature in this new, increasingly global world of law. And we're very, very grateful to have you with you. I hope it was as good for you as it was for us when you were here. Fantastic. This final tribute is bittersweet. It's my responsibility and my pleasure and privilege to acknowledge a transition at the law school, the retirement of Professor Arthur Pinto. Professor Pinto is one of the most respected and deeply engaged members of the faculty. Since coming to the law school in 1984, he has taught nearly every course concerning the complex world of business, including corporations, agency partnership, contracts, corporate finance, securities regulation, business planning, and comparative business organizations, as well as seminars, including one in comparative corporate governance and one in mergers and acquisitions. He's the author of 2 widely used books, and he's written extensively in journals on the topic of corporate governance, in particular, comparative corporate governance. Professor Pinto has been instrumental in building the law school's reputation as a leading institution in international business law. Along with Professor Roberta Carmel, he created and served as the co-director of the Dennis J. Block Center for the Study of International Business Law and its prestigious fellowship program. The center serves as an important resource for the international business law community. Since its founding more than 30 years ago, there's been hundreds of international business law fellow graduates who owe an enormous debt of gratitude to Professor Pinto and has helped the care and shepherding that he gave to make such a big impact in this program. Professor Pinto has also founded and directed the law school's noteworthy summer programs at the University of Bologna and the University of International Business and Economics Law in Beijing. He's, of course, happily accepted the tough assignment of teaching in Bologna for many summers now. Professor Pinto also helped develop the Abraham Pomerantz Lecture. He's been a mentor to numerous students, routinely inviting them to join him for brown bag lunches. He served as a faculty advisor in the Brooklyn Law Review for several years and as the long-term faculty advisor to Outlaws, the law school student group devoted to LGBT advocacy. His commitment to this student organization will live on well past his retirement, and he's endowed, because he's endowed an annual summer fellowship to fund a student advancing LGBT rights. Professor Pinto is also a fan of theater, good food, and travel, and we know he will enjoy the next chapter of his remarkable life and career. We thank him immensely for his many contributions to generations of students and colleagues at Brooklyn Law School, and we're going to greatly miss you. Faculty meetings will never be the same. Professor Pinto, please come forward so we can recognize you. There you are.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thanks, great. And now I'm going to ask the chairman of the board to come to the podium and kick off the business end of these proceedings, the part that you've all been waiting for.
Okay, now we can get down to business. Dean Allard, thank you. That was terrific, as usual. And we will now proceed with the awarding of the Masters of Law degree to the class of 2017.
Brooklyn Law School welcomed its sixth class of LLM students this past August. As lawyers trained abroad, they came to Brooklyn Law School to develop a deeper understanding of American law. In addition to achieving that goal, they brought experience with the legal systems of Brazil, China, the Dominican Republic, France, Georgia, Greece, Honduras, India, Italy, Kenya, Pakistan, Poland, Russia, Ukraine, the United Kingdom, and Venezuela into our classrooms. And they have enriched the educational experience of their classmates with their international perspective. Professor Lawrence Solon, who is the Director of the Graduate Education, will help award the degrees. Professor Solon? Mr. Subotnick, 31 candidates have successfully pursued the program leading to the degree of Master of Laws. The faculty has found that they meet the standards of excellence and have demonstrated the personal qualities that make them worthy holders of this Brooklyn Law School degree. Will these candidates please rise?
By virtue of the authority vested in me, I confer upon each of you the degree of Masters of Law with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto. Please come to the stage.
Lara Chaarchi. Thank you. Anissa Dorfman. Subrit Gupta. Rashani Bell. Janice Zalmati. Valerie Curry Sepulveda. Maria Grazia Brizzi. Barnali Mohapatra. Anna Yukanina. Nadia Mamora. Hang Chin. David Vardzel. Luca Violi. Lana Federica Morgan. Olga N. Shubina. Deborah Diaz Pinto. Yan Lu. Omir Rashid. Sitij Kuyana. Alexander Lovinko. Lucille Acheng Were. Edgeland Darcy. Vishal Gaikwad. Justina Kroll. Ifan Cho. Oksana Ulan. Sophie Ann Webb. Stavarula Colieneres. Cesar Mejia. Justine Jean Jolie. Ramon Felipe Picot. Okay, I don't want you to worry. We're not going to be doing a group picture of all the JDs up here. So I'm sorry. We could do that. We could do that back out on the plaza later, right? You. Are you ready?
Congratulations to you all. We will now proceed with awarding of Juris Doctor degrees to the class of 2017. You're only going to get one picture. I want to point out that in your commencement program, there are listed a number of group awards for membership on one of our scholarly journals, the Moot Court Honor Society, the Alternative Dispute Resolution Honor Society, and for students who completed fellowships and volunteered their services to the law school through various activities. Later this month, we will announce the Latin honors on our website as well as by email. The faculty will also be selecting the recipients of our graduation awards and prizes, and the complete list of awardees along with prize and award descriptions will be posted on our website, and the recipients will be notified individually. We are very proud of these recipients and congratulate them on their significant achievements.
Before I begin to read the names of our graduates, I just want to mention again what Dean Allard noted earlier, that some of our graduates will be receiving diplomas from someone seated on the stage. It's a favorite Brooklyn Law School tradition, and this year we are very pleased to recognize Elena Teresa Sanfilippo, class of 1936, who will, at 103, proudly give the diploma to her great-great-niece, Francesca Adamo, her Brooklyn Law School diploma. I will also mention we actually have two traditions. One is that alums give diplomas to their family members, and also sometimes graduates, if they have children that have gone through this law school experience with them, bring them up on stage. So if you've got your 3-year-old with you, feel free to bring them up. We want to wish them congratulations. Okay, Mr. Sabatnik, 368 candidates have successfully pursued the long and arduous program leading to the degree of Juris Doctor. The faculty has found that they meet the standards of excellence and have demonstrated the personal qualities that make them worthy holders of the Brooklyn Law School degree. Will these candidates please rise?
By virtue of the authority vested in me, I confer upon each of you the degree of Juris Doctor with all the rights and privileges pertaining thereto. And now, under the direction of the marshals, I ask the candidates to please come to the stage row by row.
Please sit. And then rise when the marshal directs you. Great. Please come on up. Marissa A. Potts. Jamie Kurtz, his alumni presenter is his father, the Honorable Donald Kurtz, class of '82, and his mother, Nina Kurtz, also class of '82. Francesca Adamo will be presented her diploma by her great-aunt, Elena Sanfilippo, class of 1936. Deborah Zhang. Teresa Din. Charles Wei. Josephine J. Dongbang. Kristen L. Hackett. Natalia Rivera. Richard Martin. Colleen Shea. Stephen Russo will be presented his diploma by his father, Salvatore Russo. Luis E. Martinez. Yulea Zahorada. Ashley C. Vasiri. Ian S. Schwartz. Omar Mustafa. Aaron A. McMullen. Mackenzie E. Warner. Ifsa Riaz. Laura J. Zuvaraktis. Aisha S. Sultan. Judy Kim. Catherine Zhang. Sean Elizabeth Azanari. Stephanie Jane McCarthy. Jonathan P. Connery. Sarah Elizabeth Baker. Aubrey E. Cook. Justin Bova will be granted his diploma by Jacqueline Genovese, class of 16, who is his fiancée. Samuel P. Carrion. Amanda Levine, who will be given her diploma by Brian Levine, class of 89, her father. Kelly Francis Mulholland. C. Nathaniel Myers. Philippa Ratsky will be given her diploma by her brother, Pierre Ratsky, class of 13. Jordan E. Vogel. Dylan B. Weeks. Michael Nass will be given his diploma by his cousin Rachel Friedman, class of 02, and his other cousin Evan Nass, class of 07. David Paul Weisner. Jed B. Russell. Robert C. Zitt. Christopher N. Savarino. Mariam J. Greenidge. Deandra S. Haban. Patrick J. Keaton. Paula I. Collins. Emily R. Bensko. Kelsey Lee Binder. Jennifer R. Bondelich. Let him catch up a bit. Joseph P. Dolly. Eric L. Einhorn. Jennifer A. Gordon. Madeline Ilabasi will be given her diploma by her father, John Ilabasi, class of 1985. Corey Tyler Flick. Zachary Maxwell Dean. Ashley Montana Minette. Travis Lee Mamara. Michael Pecorini. Tanvi N. Trahan. Rory Delaney Rohan. Ileana M. Openshaw. Tony Kai Lambert. Christina Mary Salerno. Beatrice Cecilia Soderberg. Marissa Marie Palau. Zachary Victor. Amanda Ray Davis will be given her diploma by her mother, Lisa Davis, class of 99. Elise Morales. Patrick J. Carey. Timothy C. Costello. Eli Dematov. I know that one. Adam DiStefano. Jared W. Harris. Matthew A. Kugler. Paul G. Sividanis. Katie A. Holmes. Allison Benz. Megan K. Boland. more and then hand you off. Evan P. Halal.
Rajiv K. Gowda. Diana R. Mondragon. Chandni Ashra Pierre. Hey, how you doing? Christy R. McGinnis. Melissa A. Sherman. Hey, how you doing? Juan Ju. Oh, hey, how you doing? Congratulations. Joshua Van Kirk. How you doing? Harry K. Tiwari. How you doing? Saeed Chowdhury. Sheena Devi Ramroop. Hi, how you doing? Pearl Shaw. Hey, how you doing? Neethi Switchdev. Is it Benoit? Yes. Joseph Donald Benoit. Christy L. Ranchurgi. How you doing? Michael Goldschul. Riyadh Hamai. Casino? Dylan D. Casino. Hey, how you doing? Oh, fantastic. So we have Jamal Jones, who's going to be getting his degree from Marley Watkins, class of '09, his cousin. Hi. Oh, fantastic. So, we have Crystal Peters, who will be getting her degree from Allison McKenzie, class of '08, her cousin. Duana Shea Dixon. Jared Scott Goldstein. How you doing? Justin B. Creighton. Oh, nice. Josie Jamie, who will be getting his degree from Maciel Ramos, class of '15, his cousin. How you doing? Fantastic. I love it. We have Nathan Cole, who will be getting his degree from Sylvester Yavana, class of '14, his cousin. Kelly M. Farrell. Samantha Benton. Jonathan S. Wong. Tienka T. Tran. Slow. Got a little backlog. I got excited. Cara A. Simpliciano. Judith L. Swartz. Jenna L. Spelke. Taylor M. Leeds. Susanna J. Talbot. Jessica L. Trujillo. Ryan Liccidello. Victoria Pentacorvo. Anne-Marie Majewski. Brittany Marie Rubino. Alexandra Rose Rappaport. Jonathan M. Shapiro. David J. Ginsberg. Samson Adler. Arupa A. Changaheng. Felix Zhang. Sophia M. Genovese. Ashley Ann Harapal. Sarah Burpee. Hey, how you doing? Anglekey. Robert Anglekey. Mo Hoffman. Yonatan Klestik. Stephanie Marie Farino. Carla Maria Cabral. John A. McKay. Joshua Walters. Dino Varmaz. Nicole Marie Veskova. Hey, how you doing? Haley P. Tynes. Emil F. Analfi. So we have Remy B. Lieberman, who will be getting his degree from his sister, Callie Lieberman, class of 15. Brandon Omari Leacock. Stanislav Weber. Chase McLeod. Sebastian Poplaski. Bridget Cantatori. Nicole M. Camparelli. Alicia Egan Dolan. Alexandra Sophia Goodman. Joshua George. Hada El Tatawi. Adrienne Louise Carrad. We have Melissa A. Bielitz and Magnolia. Rebecca J. Haberman. Alden T. Bishop. Ryan H. Gillenson. Maureen McCann. Tui An Win. Melanie Ann Rebello. Viola Lee. Nicholas A. Wright. Matthew R. Budofsky. Nicholas V. Roboto. Rochelle Reznikova. Tatiana Zoya Pulowski. Dominika Wilk. Mark E. Podkowitz. Catherine M. Ruiz Bauda. Helene Letterman. We have Casey Kearns and Jack. Michael Stephen Chris. Ronald James R. De La Fuente. Charles A. Francini. J.C. Lara Gottlieb. Valerie A. Casali. Coral A. Castillo. We have Valerie Giffard, who will be getting her degree from Tatiana Benjamin, class of 15, her cousin. We have Daria Golubkova.
Nicholas V. Giordano. Alyssa M. Cardillo. Rachel J. Brent. Bridget C. Hart. David C. Percivajo. Ryan S. Starstrom. Dylan Emily Mag. Samuel Zaretsky. Eric Schaefer, who will receive his degree from his father, Scott Schaefer, class of 1984. Victoria Saunders, who will receive her degree from Daniel Saunders, her father, class of 1981. Alexandria M. Parker. Adam Prestafilippo, who will receive his degree from his mother, Lillian Manas, class of 1984. Ruthie Matai Sanchez. Alexia Lindley Faraguna. Jonathan Pivarovov. Danielle I. Vizcarrondo. Brian P. Gilbert. Jared A. Grossman. Griffin W. Frank. John G. Curran. Colin E. Davidson. Joseph M. Calderera. Michael J. Conti. Katerina Garced. Lauren Bulbul, who will receive her degree from Charles Bulbul, her father, class of 1983. Krista Marie Irons. Jamie L. Fitzgerald. John C. Sullivan. Alexandrea A. I. Lapka. Vincent John Pontrello. Alexandra Troiano. Sean Nolan. Jesse S. O'Connell. Nicholas A. Ponzo. Stephen Palici. Madeleine Muniz. Artis E. Strong. Marshall Ian Nelson. Ricky C. Ing. Charles C. Harris. Christopher J. Antonelli and Cecilia. Aaron Burns. Catherine M. Crisona. Kyla Burke Lazarus. Lauren Elizabeth Becker. Benedetto Antonio Davi. Michael J. Uyanu. Joel Goldenberg, who will receive his degree from Daniel Goldenberg, his brother, class of 2015. Yisrael A. Katz. Omar Perez. Patrick J. Cleveland. Ruziki Chi. Ashanti M. Saralathan. Haley Michelle Ratner. Jimmy Kang. Nicholas J. Prevede. Kathleen B. Simpson. Sarah F. Risk. John F. Rabe. Hannah Marie Rogers. Rebecca Rose Richmond. John L. Oliphant. John Werner. Kupfer. Dina Kupfer. Michelle L. Goldman. David Dominguez. John Chen. Stephen J. DiGregoria. Megan L. Bum. Hey, Zach. Zach Griffin Goldberg. Leanna M. Goff. Penny Gold. Hisham Hamed. Brandon A. Russ. Elena Sabanetskaya. Cody D. Robar. Got it. Okay. Christopher Vociavo. Jacob S. Traub. Jordan Meddy. Matthew Joseph Tippy. Caroline M. Rowe. Chimsy Ubozo. Taylor Poe. Grace Anuli Nisofer. Courtney Noel Hargrove. Nicole Gerasimuke. Luis Joshua Cordaveria. Chelsea Lee Flokus. Alexandra R. Ferlisi. Bruce Scott Duncan. Jane Casey Dampf. Natalie J. Colon and Elena. Chiara K. Ampuro. Opieme Akinso. Sorry. Adam B. Kirschbaum. Andrew Citron, who received his degree from Erica Englander, class of 2016. his fiancée. Alexander M. White. Nicole D. Zola.
Hi, how are you? Morgan Mickelson. Valentina Lumage. Jessica Schneider. Thank you. Sarah Tischbein. Matthew Siegel. Blair Michelle Lambindola. Nolan James Mahoney. Mackenzie Swartz. Rachel Russell. Thank you. Shiva Saleh Mia. Crystal Johnson. David Choi. Francesca Chu. Dan Buchanan. He will also receive this degree from the alumni John Myers, his father-in-law, class of '82. Imran Bazov. Too fast? So done. We wait a little bit. Chaim Gitlis. Thank you, Chaim. Alexandra Briggs. Alessandra DiCarlo. Jonathan Pizarro Ross. Stephanie L. Khan. Carl Mudd. Thomas O'Connor. Thank you. Stephanie Cindy Rabayo. Anna McGrain Mungo. Michael Seiden. Molly Catherine Wellens. Dylan Naughton. Okay. Juan Moreno Fernandez. Joshua Nass. Okay. Dylan James Silk. Okay. Louis Poggioli. Victor Montemayor. No? No, try it. Close enough. Close enough. Thank you. Kelly Russo. Oh, sorry. Kelsey Russo. All right. Geiger. Brittany Geiger. David Jason. Oops. Seth Robert Grantier. Nicole Aronson. Rose Eugenie Dorezio. Remy Forster. Christine Alexandra Watts. Okay. Vaughn Hamilton Bob Willis. The presenter with him will be his uncle, Professor Vernon Brown.
Can you announce me and my newly wedded husband? He's right behind me.
Okay, you went together? Okay, we have a married couple here. Michelle Elizabeth Ward Fuller and Mark Fuller. Trevor Halsey. Anthony Tufano. Christopher Velez. Richard Stella. Elizabeth Stewart. Martha Pelicano. Karina Van Houten. Catherine Ann Stewart. Amanda Sarah Martin. Pamela Langro. Glenn Radecki. Alexander Estes. His diploma will be awarded by his father, class of 73, Warren Estes. It's Humapur. Okay. Matthew Humapur. Joseph Accurso. Arjun Gupta. Gattoni? Michael Gattoni. Catch up a little. Say it again. Thank you. Brian Kupferberg. Sue Ellen Shemansky. Lauren Coralita Johnson. Harris? Karis? Yeah. Okay, Gregory Kimball Jr. with Karis. Sarah S. Obeid. Tashmeen Raman. Sumuk Shah. Brendan Quinones. John O'Donnell. Edward Ray. Oliver Owade. James Shovlin. William Macelas. Is that right? Close enough? Okay. Joseph LaRussa. Is that it? So I'm very honored and pleased to present to you the Brooklyn Law School class of 2017.
I'm not going to go through the whole saying it ain't over till, but Dean Allard will now close the 116th Brooklyn Law School commencement ceremony, and he can't sing. After which, I ask the faculty members of our guests on stage to leave the hall first by departing from the stage through the hall, and the students will follow the faculty members. I ask the guests, please remain in their seats until the recessional is completed. Thank you so much, and congratulations, everybody.
I'm really glad that none of you told the chairman of the Board of Trustees that I sang Cole Porter at convocation one year. Afterwards, I said to one of our faculty members that I'd never sung in public before, and they said, "Don't worry, your record is unbroken." So, last night I flew back from Russia. I visited the University of St. Petersburg State Law School. There are 1,158 law schools in Russia, 57 in St. Petersburg. You know, our law school is one of the 10 largest in the country. You're one of the largest graduating law school classes in the country. St. Petersburg, 3,000 students. All right? Next week, Sunday, I'm going to fly to China, and I'll be participating in our annual program, which Professor Pinto founded. In Beijing, there is one law firm that has, in one city, 3,000 lawyers, Chinese lawyers. We have a program in Trento and Bologna now. We have faculty members in Europe and South America. You come from all points of the compass. We know about the disruptive forces of technology. We know about the increasingly borderless aspect, but this is a new world of law. Your law school and you all are equipped because of our diversity, but I want to suggest to you that even though we still make the best lawyers in the world, and we do, we can't be complacent, and we have to continuously push ourselves to keep in the forefront. And so I hope that with the knowledge, experience, and confidence that you have gained from working very hard with our great faculty, that you'll be able to figure things out and stay in the forefront of law as it continues to change. As I said to you a few years ago, law is the grand symphonic music of the human condition, and like most symphonies, law is composed of complex parts and performed by many players. It's the harmonious melody, the memorable, worthy themes that lawyers uniquely and skillfully build consensus around that are most remembered. It's the concurrence and not the discord that's best, the resolutions, not the disputes that soar, and it's agreement rather than victory or defeat that best shows the power of law. So embrace your roles in the great symphony of law, whether you are playing the clarinet or a left-handed piccolo player or a trumpeter. Just embrace your role wherever your career takes you and prepare to perform your part as well as you can. Also, especially as we face these enormous challenges, ones of governance, ones of togetherness and embracing all of us who are people of one race equally, with compassion and opportunity as we take on huge problems relating to the climate, pollution, global health, peace. Just remember what Edmund Burke once said: "No one made a greater mistake than he or she who did nothing because he or she could only do a little." And actually, when you think about it, especially with the education that you've gained, there's really quite a bit that each of you can do. So you're now officially alumni of the best school. You're alumni of the best school in Brooklyn, and you sort of know how it goes. the best law school in the most vibrant borough in the Big Apple of the great Empire State, in the most enduring and successful democratic republic on the planet. So you got that going for you. I'm going to look forward to seeing all of you immediately following. Well, it starts at 2:30, but I'm sure there'll be a few hot dogs available early on. But at the Plaza of the Law School, we're having a picnic for you and your guests, and so we all look forward to seeing you. And I just urge you to make us as proud tomorrow as we are of you today. God bless. Take care. Thank you all very much. Start the music.
The next one, right?
It's the bull rate, number 6.
Number 6.
Yeah.
1, 2.
The minuet?
Yeah. 1, 2, 3.
Number 9.
One, two, three.